Hey guys, so in today's lesson, I'm going to be talking about metabolism myths, okay? I'm going to teach you about metabolism, what it actually is. I think the word gets bandied about quite a bit, and I want to get down to the nooks and crannies of what it actually is. And I want you to kind of forget everything you've ever learned about metabolism, and I'm going to teach you how you can actually give it a bit of a kickstart. Don't panic if you feel you've got a slow metabolism. It might be down to genetics, but we can't use it as a reason as to why you can't get results, because I'm going to give you some strategies as to how you can change that, okay? So that is what today's going to be about. Forget everything you've ever learned about metabolism, metabolism boosters, and we're going to cover all of it in today's lesson. So first up, what is metabolism? Well, metabolism, bear with me for a second. Metabolism is a complex biological process that involves the chemical reactions in the body that convert the food we eat into the energy we need to function. Essentially, at its most basic level, metabolism is how our bodies use that fuel to keep us alive and our organs functioning, all right? It's the engine that keeps our heart beating, our lungs breathing, and our brain thinking. It's the rate at which our body turns this fuel is known as our metabolic rate, okay? So this is what it means. That's what metabolic rate is. Now, understanding the intricacies of metabolism, if I can speak properly, as it plays a significant role in our overall health, energy levels, and ability to maintain weight, is very important that we understand this. So by learning a bit more science behind what it is, I'm going to help you debunk some common myths and give you some actionable steps to optimize your calorie burning potential, all right? So first up is food intake. Your body gets calories from three main nutrients, okay? They're called macronutrients. They're the biggest nutrients. We've got carbs, fats, protein. I'm sure you've all heard of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Now, carbohydrates and proteins both have 4 calories per gram, and fats have 9 calories per gram. Now, each of these different types of food is broken down differently before it enters your bloodstream. They're not all broken down in the same way. Now, the conversion process is inside your cells with tiny structures called mitochondria. Now, you don't have to remember all these big fancy words, but for now, we're going to use them, okay? Just as a little kind of, to help give you an idea what this actually is about. So mitochondria, they turn food into little energy packets. So this process is controlled by hormones like insulin and thyroid hormones, and they kind of act as switches turning energy production up or down. Then you've got your energy output, so your body burns 1,200 calories to 2,000 calories daily just to be alive. That's your basal metabolic rate. Exercise can burn an extra 200 to 700 per hour depending on the intensity and what you're doing, and even digesting food, especially protein, it's hard to digest, burns calories. Protein burns more calories because it's harder to digest. So just a couple of different ways in which we actually burn calories throughout the day. Now, a couple of myths here, debunk. We're going to debunk these myths right now. First up, thin people have high metabolisms. No. Body size directly increases metabolic rate. So essentially, the bigger you are, the faster your metabolism is going to be, because you need more energy to move. So you're going to burn more energy to move, okay? So yeah, it's not a case of thin people are lucky they've got faster metabolisms. No. Basically, the larger bodies contain more metabolically active tissue and require more calories just for basic functions, all right? So a 180-pound person typically burns more calories when they rest than a 120-pound person, okay? Next myth, 6 small meals boost metabolism. You might have heard eating little and often throughout the day can help boost your metabolism. Again, it doesn't matter. It's about your total caloric intake that determines fat loss or fat gain, all right? Not the frequency of your meals. So don't focus on that. Focus on how many calories you're having. It could be 2 meals a day, it could be 6 meals a day. Doesn't really matter, okay? And the last myth, and probably the most common one, is late night eating turns food into fat. Honestly, it does not. Your mitochondria do not work on the clock. They are not clocking in and out. They work 24/7. So even if you eat after 8 p.m., 9 p.m., it doesn't matter. I used to do this for years. I used to eat late in the evenings. It didn't affect me at all. Okay, and it's not going to affect you in terms of body composition. All right, it doesn't matter what time of day it is. Again, it's going to be total calories consumed against total calorie expenditure. All right, so please don't worry about that. Next up, the science of fat burning. So how do we burn calories throughout the course of the day? This is how we do it. BMR, basal metabolic rate, the energy used for essential functions, organs to work, brain to work, etc. 60 to 70% of your calories for your basal metabolic rate. Physical activity can be 20 to 30%, so walking, exercise, that kind of stuff. And thermic effect of food, so digesting food, can actually be up to 10% of your daily calories burned through the thermic effect of food, which is mad when you think about it, right? A few factors here that might impact your metabolism. First one, is genetics. You might have slow metabolism due to genetics, okay? You will have a baseline metabolic rate. However, it doesn't mean you can't get anywhere. It doesn't mean you can't speed it up and increase that metabolism. We can do that by increasing muscle tissue, muscle mass, so more muscle equals higher calorie burn. Don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the more muscle tissue you have from resistance training, etc., you will burn more calories when you're sleeping, which is good, speeds up your metabolism. Sleep quality is important as well, so it's going to help with your hormone health, which really, really does help with metabolism too. And then hydration is essential for optimal cellular function. So again, be as hydrated as possible. It's going to help your cells function correctly, all right? Some actionable strategies for fat loss here and to speed up your metabolism. First up is strength training. It's all the stuff I talk about all the time. Strength training, so lifting 2 to 3 times a week minimum, okay? I'd probably say 4 to 5 times is more beneficial if you can do that. Now focus on compound movements, so squats, deadlifts, etc., but any kind of resistance training is going to work wonders, all right? Building muscle tissue will really boost your resting metabolism. It's going to help massively with fat loss, okay? Protein prioritization as well. It's not just about recovery, satiation. It's about having a higher thermic effect of food. So burning more calories when you digest protein. You want to be aiming for 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight if possible. Again, I appreciate it's not easy to consume enough protein, so it might be worth starting a bit lower, then working your way up, which is what I tend to do for most clients. Sleep optimization as well. So I want you to aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Now, you might not get consistent sleep, but quality sleep. So when you do sleep, try and get the best possible sleep. So that's the key here. Whether you work night shifts, whether you've got young kids or whatever, it's difficult. Don't trust me on that. I don't work night shifts or have young kids, but I can imagine it's very, very difficult to do that. However, if you can get consistent bedtimes, if you can have a consistent nighttime routine where you're not on your screen too much, etc., it should help with the quality of the time you are asleep, which is going to help with hormonal balance, all right? Whether you're male or female, it's going to help with hormonal balance. A few common pitfalls that people fall into as they want a quick fix, and I want you to avoid, are things like fat burning supplements. So they promise a dramatic metabolic increase. The reality of it is minimal, 0 to 3% temporary boost, okay? Waste of time, waste of money. Green tea extract as well, again, it's promised that it's going to burn significant calories. Generally, it's approximately 5 to 10 calories per day extra, all right? Waste of time again. And cayenne, hot peppers, hot sauce, that kind of stuff, the promise is it can melt away fat. The reality is it burns around 10 extra calories per meal. You know, it's not really worth the time and effort. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take control of your metabolism. Understand that your BMR is going to be the vast majority of your calories burned in the day. Just to be alive as a human being, we can boost it by some strength training. We can boost it by 10% by doing some strength training, but also the more active you are, you're going to boost your metabolism. The better quality food as well will help. And if you can get good quality sleep, okay? It doesn't matter really. The length is important, but not as important as the quality. So if you can get good quality sleep by having a better nighttime routine and having more deep sleep, it's really going to help your hormones balance out better and everything, the whole chemical process is going to be smoother, okay? So that's kind of like what we're looking for. We want to resistance train, we want to be active, eat good food, sleep and hydrate, and you're laughing, okay? You can boost that metabolism really, really well if we're consistent with those things. So hopefully, guys, that has made plenty of sense. If you have any questions about it, please give me a shout. I understand it can be quite a controversial topic, metabolism, but it's something that we can just get our head around. There's no need to be scared of it, and we can continue to try and progress, even if your metabolism is a bit slower right now, whether that's genetics or time at your certain time of your life or whatever it is, but we can always optimize it as much as possible. So have a good one, guys. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon.